pot.
We can get
I think
two fools agree on that one. Oh, by the way, look, we got the wide shot.
There was you had accountability. Now what I can
Now all you need is a podcast and a YouTube channel.
No, not even.
Where give me the money. Show me the money.
Apparently there's a Foolproof page.
Shoot the J. Shoot it. Live on Facebook.com/Foolproof Entertainment Network. I need you on Twitter. I need you to repost the Facebook pages.
To raise a human before I would
Trust human to raise back wolves.
before I would trust a pack of humans to raise a wolf.
Right. I hear you. Yo, what up, fools? Welcome back to another edition of Do Fools Agree. As always, I'm your host, Michael Reggie, here with my main man, Clifford Jordan Jennings.
That would be me.
Finally, the fools have come back to the Citadel Studios.
Is that your WWE?
That was a little
promo?
rock for you. That was Dwayne.
A little WWE
My
promo.
man. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who, you know, one thing, I'll start off with an inadvertent thought for you.
Okay.
You got to ask women to choose between Dwayne and Momoa.
Dwayne and Jason?
Yep.
I think that's more of, I don't even think you could say that.
No?
No, I was about to say I think that's more of a generational thing, but not necessarily generation, but like sub-generation. You know what I mean?
Say more.
So, Jason Momoa strikes me from more of the 25 to 32-ish.
Or The Rock is
The Rock
older.
is more 32 to 40.
I hear your point.
33 to 40, I would say. I would even kind of bump that up a little bit.
Here's how I look at it. And this is why I specifically said you have to ask women this question.
Right.
The Rock, I mean, first of all, both of them, very good father figures. They talk a lot about their children and their social media. They're very engaged dads. I think they're both girl dads. Like, they're good dudes beyond the camera.
Right.
The Rock, I don't know. The Rock to me feels like he's more like a family man, and like he'd be gentle. Jason Momoa fucks.
Is that the vibe you get?
That's the vibe I get from him. I mean, you got to remember the Dothraki and like Game of Thrones shit. Like, if a girl likes Jason Momoa more than she likes The Rock,
she's getting fucked.
I
don't know. I think,
she wants that dick.
I don't know. Just in a weird way, I kind of get the opposite.
You get the opposite vibe? Oh, how so? The Rock is very... The thing with The Rock is, like, he's very... Despite the fact that he's a jack dude, and that... I think it's because the persona he's created around himself is a very, like, family-friendly, like, friendly persona.
No, I get that, but so is Bob Saget.
Well, fair.
You know what I mean? Like, The Rock...
The Rock refuses to be in movies that don't have happy endings. That's part of his contract, and what he negotiates with his agent is that he will not be in a movie that has a sad ending because he wants crowds and families to go home happy.
I don't know if that's an odd request.
I mean, it's certainly an odd request, but it's his brand. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Like, The Rock is... safety, security. He'll lay you down gently. We've seen what Jason Momoa does. Just watch Game of Thrones.
But see, so I guess here's where the disconnect comes in, right? It's wild that we're arguing who fucks Wilder or whatever, but so
I think it's wilder that you got glasses on right now, but
I'm recovering from an injury.
An injury? All right.
A concussive injury.
Oh, did you get Oh, I didn't know, man.
Yeah, and
all right.
So I guess I got concussion and I got whiplash, so I'm supposed to be.
So you out here looking like Urkel because of those things.
Yeah, the light.
I got you.
The blue. I guess these are just blues. They're not prescription, so it stops some of it.
Does it stop it's a polarizing thing where it stops certain frequencies or blue light? Gotcha.
Helps a little. It eases a little bit. So I've been watching TV and doing my work with these on.
Gotcha.
And I wear them like this because they're cheap and they cut into the bridges of my nose. So I like them sitting on my nose meat more.
I mean, it makes it look like you're always contemplating.
Right. Yeah. I feel like I'm a librarian.
Right.
Look over my glasses at you.
Looking sexy over the glasses. I see it.
But what I was saying was, I guess the vibe comes from the fact that I think some of The Rock's persona that he portrayed in wrestling was actually him, whereas you look at a lot of these actors and they're completely, different than the roles they portray. Like, be a vegan yoga master and
I think that's pretty well documented. And even in Fighting with My Family, the Page story, he talks about, and he's talked about this a lot, and him and Austin have both said this. Their WWE characters at the height of the Attitude Era were themselves just turned all the way up.
Right.
Like turned up to 11.
Right.
So that's where I'm like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but I also think that was like his personality taken to an extreme. And even his wrestling personality, like it was jokey, it was funny, it wasn't like threatening.
No, but I guess I also think he could slam you gently. It's always about the gentle rough at the same.
That's true.
That's true.
I'll give that to you.
The gentle manhandling.
It's gentle, but it's rough, but it's sensual.
Right. You know what I mean?
Again, I think Momoa just fucks. He's throwing you down.
I don't know. We'd have to find some callers.
So, if you've had sex with The Rock or with Jason Momoa and you'd like to comment, feel free.
Or both.
The number's on the screen.
An opportune guest.
I actually think that would be a really good, entertaining interview. Oh, man. So what you got, man? Or, you know what? Let's rewind. How was your week? You doing all right? It's been a while.
Yeah.
I know I missed a couple of weeks on Hit the Showers. Andrew had his soccer party and,
Soccer party.
Other stuff.
What's that?
Well, it was his end of season, soccer get together.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever. And on top of that, I just had other shit to do. So.
Listen, I get it. Life is life.
But I tell you what, I have had fun jumping on the show and dogging Brittany and dogging Malcolm, which you do a pretty good job of yourself. So, but no, it's been fun, and I'm I'm trying to do it pretty consistently, and we'll get through it.
Yeah,
it'll be fun. I enjoy
we'll
it.
Get back on our,
I do say sometimes it's not that you have too many people on, but you got people that just want to talk. And sometimes they just need to listen.
Round up the crowd a bit.
Right. But I mean, again, I think everybody's got a different perspective and a unique perspective and a unique voice
Right.
that I think goes really well together. So I think you've done a good job kind of getting that show going. And I mean, shit, y'all almost caught up to us.
Right. We getting there.
Right?
We getting there.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah, circling back, you doing all right? Work all right? Life all right?
Yeah, I mean,
other than getting concussed, you taking care of yourself?
Yeah, got to.
All right.
Who else gonna do it?
Right. Who else gonna do it?
Who else gonna take care of me?
I mean, probably nobody.
Right. No?
Karma ain't there yet.
No. Hopefully she's crazy successful, and I can just say, my account. It's not looking right, baby. Get it right for me. I got somewhere I gotta go.
Fix this shit.
Right.
Oh man.
Shit.
Well, we just started. So obviously we wrapped up the football season.
Right.
We finished 6-4, 6-3 in the regular season. Got a home playoff game. Game was good at halftime. We came out, shit the bed in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
But good game. Until we got run ruled by the fourth quarter.
Man.
Hey man, we went from 1-6 the year before to 6-4. I'll take it.
Yeah, for real. But
No
who
doubt.
did you play in the playoffs? Who was it?
Canal Winchester, who was actually pretty good, and I think they're OCC, and so they're legit.
Yeah, from what I've heard, they have been for a couple years.
Yeah, and I mean I think their record was right around ours. I'm actually not sure how we ended up with more points than them because the OCC's got to be higher divisions across the board than we are.
Right.
We got a lot of help at the end where teams we had beat all won or almost all won the last week or two. So
And bump y'all up.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works. Did you hear, since you guys don't really talk high school on Hit the Showers, did you hear Bobby Carpenter ripping to the OHSAA about the playoffs and how it's all about money, and the only reason they added an extra round to the playoffs was basically to line the pockets of the OHSAA because the coaches and everybody else said they didn't want to do it?
No.
Dude, he ripped into them. And I'm not usually Bobby
Carpenter?
Carpenter was a linebacker for Ohio State.
Okay.
And now he's on 97.1 The Fan Sports Talk.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I guess they were interviewing the OHSAA and he ripped into them during the interview. Which was cool because that's not something that usually gets airtime or interview time.
You know what? And speaking of that, not to
No, go for it.
But have you seen Charlemagne the God's new show?
No.
There's a reason that they put that on MTV2 or what is it? It might be on regular. I mean, is it Comedy Central?
I don't know. I feel like MTV and Comedy Central are almost to the level of like public access now. Right. Because anything that's worth anything is on streaming.
Listen, but that show, the only reason I brought it up was because he interviewed who's black on Biden's staff.
I mean, I feel like a lot of his staff is diverse.
It's a dude. I don't know what his title is though.
It's not like Cory Booker or somebody.
No. Damn, I can't think of his name or what. But he interviewed him about the death of democracy. Okay. And he was really just chewing his ass out. Like, it's just crazy, first of all, those are the best interviews are when you're interviewing somebody that has an emotional investment on one side. Yes. Or the opposite side.
Because it's easy to go after them.
I love it. Because with me, it's just about, it's the art of verbal warfare. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
which is your MO.
I just like to see how you go at a motherfucker. Right. And I like to see how they respond. And those interviews, especially when you're interviewing somebody like on the OHSA or the fucking Democratic, whatever the case may be, we all know what the deal is. You know what I mean? We know what you're ruled by.
Right.
So it's hard for you to argue your stance when we know what your stance is.
Right. When we know you don't have our best interest in mind, you have your corporate backers' best
and just because this is your stance right now at this moment,
right,
that doesn't mean that stance might not change as soon as these cameras cut off.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I don't know. I think that's a situation where it's really not what their personal stance is. It's what they're directed to have the stance of. Right. Like there is nobody goes into politics with a spine. Let's be frank. Like anybody who wants to go into politics wants to do it for the recognition and for some level of notoriety or money. Whether that's getting money in terms of corporate backing and living off of that shit.
So
lobbyists, like all that kind of shit. That's all it is. It's all money changing hands.
Politics is rich man's porn.
I mean, that's not a bad analogy.
And I don't mean like man, of course. Because I want to include the women in that as well. But
right, your girl Kamala.
Right. You know, Alexandria, all them. But it's like the opposite, you know.
AOC girls, at least
the girls do it right because it's like I'm attractive, I want money.
So I will argue with you a little bit. I don't think I think AOC confidence. I think AOC actually did start out as
a porn star.
No, as being grounded and somebody who really thought that they could make a difference. I think she's exactly where everyone else is right now. Meaning she has learned how to play the game and how to adapt. And, I mean, that's the only way you survive in that game is you learn how to play it. And this goes back to what you and I have had conversations about in the past. Like, that's the game they're playing. I don't want to play.
So AOC was a stripper.
She was a bartender.
Oh, no, I'm speaking.
You're speaking.
In analogies.
Okay. All right.
So you were a stripper that took the gateway drug and ended up in porn, whereas the others were immediately on the casting couch. Because I do feel like that's the perfect equivalent, right? You know, because you want attention and you choose that route, but the guy in politics sells his soul for that attention in other ways. But see, it's almost crazy, right? Like, because when you think about it, the porn star gets more respect
than the politician does.
Right. Like, people...
Because we know she gets
fans.
fucked.
I mean, people are fans of porn stars.
That's true.
I don't know anybody that's been a fan of a politician.
I mean, I could think of about 72 million people who are a fan of one particular politician.
Who?
Oh, come on, man. Our previous president.
Well, he's not a politician.
He is. Yes, he is.
Well, no,
he is the definition
that was the
of a politician. He was a politician who wasn't a politician.
That was the allure.
But that's
of
the
Trump,
thing.
the fact that he was not a part of that cog.
But he was. He always was. He was always donating shit behind the scenes.
So he was a stripper, right? He took the gateway drug and he was like, I've been paying these motherfuckers. Why don't I just have the power myself?
Why don't I just do it myself? Yeah.
But regardless of the fact, the allure is he doesn't come from that. He didn't graduate from that fraternity.
Right. And his whole message was drain the swamp and all that shit. And guess what? It's more filled with people like that because of him than ever before. Like
I said, I mean, it depends on what you appreciate.
Right.
And I appreciate the hate.
Oh, hate.
Listen, I take good old fashioned hate over political manipulation any day.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation on a post about that with somebody because we still don't know how to fight political manipulation. And everybody says vote, but
I don't think political manipulation is the issue. I think corporate manipulation of politics is the issue.
And that's the manipulation.
Yeah.
The corporations don't belong in politics.
No, they don't.
And the fact that you accept that is the manipulation.
Yeah, fair. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with you there.
That's where it becomes devious or off, you're off the beaten path of what this was meant to be. There's a reason why they put a right to bear arms in the Declaration shit or whatever.
The Bill of Rights, yeah.
Right. And that was for
Second Amendment, yeah.
That was for the governments that
No, that's exactly what it was. Was that people were yes, exactly. The intent was that if government gets out of line, like the British Empire did in terms of being able to quarter and basically take over your property, take over your house, that was why there was a Bill of Rights from a Second Amendment perspective, was so that you could keep that from happening.
Right.
And there's also, and I should know this, but there's another amendment that basically says that the government isn't allowed to come in and occupy your home, etc.
But we all know they don't follow the rules.
Well, no shit. But I think that that's actually what's interesting is that if you believe that capitalism is a good structure, and I don't know that anybody really does, but the theory would be then if money is driving politics, then the companies who have the people's best interest in mind would be the ones that would survive things like this. We know that's not true because you got people like Bezos and,
right.
Elon and all that shit basically doing whatever the fuck they want and burying their workers underneath them. Less so with Elon, more so with Bezos. But.
Right. But at the same time, though, you can't really keep Elon out of that because Elon's dealing with more high-tech business.
Yep.
So there's a filter that comes through.
Right. So, just by nature of what he's doing.
Right. So when we look at wage to the wage ratio to people that are also in that business, who knows? You may be getting a little bit more, but is that your worth for working at Tesla?
Right. True.
And I just don't understand how you could be someone so fucking rich and rather build a dick than just pay. I would be on some cult-like shit and pay motherfuckers at Amazon $100,000 a year.
Right. No, I'm with you.
If you take trash out, clean
doesn't
the
matter
bathrooms,
what your job is.
I would want people wanting to kill themselves to work at Amazon.
For it. Yep. I agree. And the thing is he could probably do that and still be a billionaire.
Period. I bet you'd make more money because you'd have more people wanting to show up to work to deliver those packages.
Because your people who work for you, guess what? Where are they shopping almost exclusively? They're giving you back half their paycheck anyways. That's like my ex and I were in my paychecks. Like, I'd get my paycheck coming in, and then I would see the bank name of the credit card company that I work for on my expenses going back out. Like, can we skip the middleman? Can I just do direct deposit back to pay your bills? Right. Oh, man.
You ignorant.
Me? Ignorant would be telling you all about all the fun I've been having for the last 2 months. But I'm not ignorant. So, Mr. Jennings, what else you got? You got any other inadvertent thoughts? Or did we get one from you? I don't think we got one from you. Was it porn in the politics? All right. I can. That's acceptable.
And then, but I guess I was about to jump out the window, but I caught myself on a ledge. I think it is some people that watch politics like porn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say more.
I was about to say, but you don't get as much out of watching politics like you do porn. But then I thought to myself, like, motherfuckers be on NPR and all that. Like, they watch the debates, and I think it's a lot of people that do watch it, not like, pleasuring themselves, but maybe, nailing Palin or whatever.
I don't know if there's been any politician. I mean, I'm sure there were some people that, were attracted to Barack, but I don't think anybody was attracted to anybody in the last 2 elections.
I don't know. I mean, Ocasio is, she's all right.
All right. If you're gonna go state races and Senate races, fine.
Yeah, she's
fine.
all right. I mean, but that's.
I mean, AOC is cute. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, she's all right. In a naggy business suit kind of way.
Right. Looking like she should be on In the Heights and all that.
Is that racist?
Maybe. I didn't mean for it to be.
Into our next segment.
That could be Nina from In the Heights. Anyways, moving on.
Into our next segment. Is it racist that... Is it racist that my favorite food is Mexican food, but I try not to eat it a lot because I don't want to be built like them?
I mean, it's funny. I've had this conversation a fair amount lately. The nice thing about, like, both, and it's actually both Mexican and Italian food, really... All of the
favorites.
All the dishes are the same fucking ingredients. It's just you put them together differently.
Right. Yeah, right. Right.
It's like
I don't want to be built like either one of them. That's why the fuck? I don't want to be built like neither.
Mexican is the IKEA of food. You put it together this way, it's a taco. You put it together this way, it's a burrito. You put it together this way, it's an enchilada.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take, and I think that's a very accurate take.
Italian's the same way. You put it together this way, it's lasagna. You put it together this way, it's gnocchi. As you put it together this way, it's ravioli.
What's a gnocchi?
It's usually potato pasta.
Oh, okay.
That's a little more akin to like a pierogi.
I don't know nothing about
pierogi is ravioli, but with potato inside instead of cheese or beef.
I've heard that before. I didn't know that's what that was.
It's a Polish dish, I believe.
Is it better?
I mean, they're different. Like, ravioli, I'll do with just like your standard red sauce. But the pierogies, what you do is, like, personally, I like to either saute them or, like, fry them. And then they're, like, crispy. I guess
you would want to with the potato.
Potato in the middle, right. But they're good with some butter and some onions. Just throw it all in the pan. Me and Mrs. T are like this, son.
I bet that would be something. I ain't never had nothing like that.
You're missing out, man.
Excuse me. I thought I liked Italian food. I'm like, listen, I just must be the ghetto Italian where it's just spaghetti, lasagna, Alfredo.
I mean, A-Reg loves Italian, but it's all like the cheap shit. Like it's spaghetti, red sauce, and microwavable meatballs.
Oh, no.
He won't eat good meatballs, but he'll eat some microwavable meatballs like all day.
Well, you know what? Like, I only know one person in recent life that made meatballs with spaghetti, and that's Callie.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody I know just does ground beef, because it spreads further.
It does. Usually if I make
Italian sausage or whatever, but either way, it's ground more so than...
Okay, so he's like just putting like the ground meat in the sauce or whatever is what you mean?
Right. My mom used to do it separate. Like she put the noodles and then she'd have her meat and her sauce
in a pot or something.
And you put it on.
Yeah.
Or like me, I like the bacon.
Yeah.
Like I like making it like
you bake it while the sauce is going and
like
everything else.
Make some of it in the pot, and then you layer it in the bake and.
No, I'm with you there.
On there.
Like if I'm actually gonna make like homemade meatballs, it's gonna be usually some ground sausage and some ground beef mixed together. Usually, actually, what I like to use is kind of like the breading in it is Ritz Crackers because it adds that little bit of buttery flavor.
Ooh, I never thought about that.
And so you crush up the Ritz Crackers, you mix it in with the meat, the seasoning, all that. You just roll them.
A little oregano.
Little oregano, a little salt, a little pepper. Not much.
Right.
But
I never thought of that. The Ritz Crackers.
That's my go-to. The Ritz Crackers because they're airier and they add, I don't know, they add just a little flavor to it.
Interesting. I never thought of that. I wonder what the club crackers will hit for.
It'd probably be similar. Ritz Crackers are just they've got a little more buttery, like airy flavor to them.
I know exactly what they probably would be better for them than the club joints.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You got me wanting to make some spaghetti.
Note to self, I think I found dinner for Monday night.
So listen, and then it's easy to make that. You can make it, and then me living by myself, I can make that for the whole week.
Oh, no doubt.
And I'm not
like 1 pound of ground beef or 1 pound of
I'll probably make 2.
You're not a big pork guy these days, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah, so just ground beef.
Get me through 7 days of the week. Make 2 pounds.
There you go.
And make 2 boxes of pasta and just keep it in the fridge.
Well, in pasta, what I've found to work real well, because if you, you can put it in any kind of container. What I found to work well for me in terms of, keeping it fresh if I'm going to try to store it is, a gallon Ziploc bag with just a little bit of water in it.
Right.
And it seems to keep the moisture, all that.
See,
this is the Do Fools Agree cooking show with Michael and Cliff.
Tupperware with a little bit of water.
Tupperware. My thing with if I can use a bag instead of Tupperware, I like it just because it's easier to keep the fridge kind of organized. I feel, but Tupperware just seems to take up space. And what I tend to do with Tupperware is it just gets pushed to the back. Whereas a clear plastic bag, it's in my face.
That's a good point. I definitely probably got some old food and Tupperware in the back of my fridge.
Right. That's what happens. See, we're getting old, man.
Shit turns to a bomb depending on what you got in it.
So the real question. Did you watch it? No.
I did.
You
I
did?
didn't watch the whole thing.
All right, but you at least started it.
Yeah, I got to where.
So spoiler alert. So for those that don't know, we are about to talk about Dune.
Yeah.
So quick spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it yet, if you haven't read the book, go ahead, come back in probably 6 seconds when Cliff has said his piece on it.
Yeah, it won't be more than 6. But I watched up until Mike's favorite porn star, Jason Momoa, died.
Up until Jason died? All right.
Yeah, and then, because I tried to, so what happened was I played the game after I got off work, so I tried to squeeze in. I was thinking about 2 hours before it's time to leave, I'll watch it, and I didn't know it was
it's a 2.5, 3 hour movie. Yeah.
So I got, I think, with 45 minutes left in the movie before I left.
Gotcha. So
it would, but what I will say is it's a lot. So I listened to the Tiger Belly podcast with Bobby Lee, and I think Eric Griffin was on it. No, who else was on it? Somebody was on it, but they were talking about Dune.
Yeah.
I think it might have been his brother, but they were talking about Dune, and they were comparing it to Star Wars, and he was saying if they do it right, it could be a better Star Wars. And I could see how he got that vibe from the movie because it has the room for chapters the Star Wars, but the movie itself was just on a different genre of. I dug it a lot more than.
You dug it more than Star Wars?
Hell yeah!
All right, I wasn't sure.
The way I like that they went with hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
The people would drop down with their swords and fight as opposed to come out with the guns, and that I was just
okay.
That's what's up. Like, that gives everybody a shot.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I guess, all right, so I got a question for you, because even though we've talked about it a little bit on the show before, you're not, like, familiar with Dune or the lore behind it, any of that.
No,
were you able to track kind of what was going on? Like, the one thing that I talked to a couple of folks about was, I think that it could have done with a little deeper of, like, an intro. Like in Lord of the Rings, where, like, Galadriel is telling you all about the forging of the rings,
right,
and then how stuff fell in and all of that. There wasn't really that in this movie, and I thought that it made it a little inaccessible. But I'm glad you liked it.
I immediately thought of Africa. I said, well, this is just Africa.
All right.
And they said a different type of person came and tried to take, and I feel like that's Africa. That's just everybody tries to take and conquer, and they said the same thing about the people that inhabited Africa that they said about the people that inhabited the land.
So you're comparing the Fremens to the Africans.
Right. All right. Like they're savages, they're this, they're that, so it makes you feel better about taking what they have when all they were saying were just stay out our land and leave us alone. To us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the end, the downfall of Africa will be the fact that nobody listened to somebody saying, leave us to us.
Right.
You know, and the worm of Africa is the jungle itself.
Yeah.
When you think about the hippos, the lions, you can't survive there if you're not from there. So when you have people come, you need a guide.
You need a guide. You need somebody that understands.
The same way you do when you go there. That was my first reaction. Is that's just their. And I thought, another inadvert. I thought to myself, that's the only. It's crazy. Like people are going crazy over the critical race theory and all this bullshit, and them taking curriculum out of schools and adding curriculum into it. And I was thinking to myself that we need movies like this because a lot of white people are so inherently oblivious.
Yeah.
That they don't see it unless it's themselves in the oppressed place.
Right.
So when you look at it in a movie like this, it's like they're wrong. But then you're like, well, wait a minute. You'd say that's wrong, but you wouldn't say this is wrong.
Your situation is wrong.
So it's almost like if you would make a movie like that, and then at the end of the movie, before the credits roll, spend 15 minutes of compare it to, they'd be like, oh, I get it now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you can't just give them history. You have to put them in the position
of it.
And it's always going to have to be an alien. It's always going to be because what's a higher power in the world than the white man?
Right. No, I think that's actually a very... You know, I'm trying to think if it's the glasses or if you're just making good points tonight. I'm not willing to give you the credit that this is all you. It might be the glasses.
Listen, 15 concussions in, and it's the first one I'm feeling. So.
Oh, there you go. It's because you're too old for this shit, man.
Maybe that's what it is, because they've never stopped me before. This one, boy.
So, I'm actually very interested to see what you think of the end of the movie. Did you realize, or did you see?
Cliffhanger-ish.
Right. Did you see that it's just a part one? Like,
yeah.
That was something that I didn't realize going into it, and I don't want to say I was pissed.
I saw a post on Facebook that said
that basically said that.
Yeah. Before
and that was something that I didn't realize going into it, and so I was a little disappointed. But then watching the movie, there's nothing in there that I would have taken out. And the only way that they could have done that all in one movie, no, they couldn't have done it all in one movie unless they were going to make it a 6-hour movie.
And then, you actually read the book, though.
Yeah.
Right, so you know it more than I do, but
I will tell you, I'm not sold on this being only 2 movies. It might be 3.
Listen, and that's
because they only get through, I'd say, about 25% of the book, 30% of the book in this first movie. I mean, the book is huge. The book is like a 700-page book, 600-page book. It's thick.
And you can tell.
Now, a lot of that is like backstory and and they skipped over some of that, but
and you can tell. That's what I was just about to say from the movie without even reading the book. You can tell they jumbled up a lot.
They condensed a fair amount.
Right. You can, and it's visible to somebody that hasn't
actually read it or knows what's going on.
You can tell that you were trying to rush a lot of information or a lot of things in a short span of time in that movie.
So not knowing where you're at.
I mean,
no, you know he died. You know Duncan died.
Right.
So
Duncan's
Momoa died. So it ends with him going into the desert and kind of working his way into being accepted by the Fremen.
And I saw that because when he had the vision in the tent, he had the blue eyes, so of course he was accepted by them to...
Him getting to that point is before the midway point of the book. So that entire movie only covers like...
But see, that makes sense because...
No, I completely agree. But it doesn't... I don't think it was marketed well that this was only part one, because I went into it and I didn't know that until I got halfway through the movie, and I'm like, they're spending a lot of time, which I like. There's nothing in the movie that I would take out and wish they would have sped things along. But I think the standard audience probably didn't realize this was only part one, and so what I was curious about was people who don't know the story, don't know the book.
Investment to want to come back.
Now, apparently, it doesn't matter because they greenlit Dune 2, which is great. I actually think they've shot most of Dune 2 already, and really the green light was just to do post production on Dune 2, and I wouldn't be surprised if Dune 2 comes out. I think they've said it's going to come out in 2023, but I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out like Q1 of 2023. Like January, February of 2023.
You know, I can't say that I'm not somewhat invested in it.
Now, question for you. Having seen it now, would it have done better as like a series on HBO?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Especially when you think about, from a Netflix standpoint, how much money they're putting into the production of TV series now.
Right, like Witcher and...
I feel like you could have almost done a couple seasons in a couple locations at one time.
Right. I mean, or you could have done it like, well, and I didn't see it in theaters, so maybe the scope translates better in like IMAX or whatever, but because of the nature of the environment that it takes place in, you could do that all on like the same type of shit that they do Mandalorian in that fucking...
Explain.
So Mandalorian, and I can't remember what they call it. It's like the vaults or something like that, but it is basically it's a room that's kind of like this, but with like bigger ceilings, but it's kind of a globe. And they basically use the Unreal video game engine to digitally create the environments that the actors are standing in. And because it's a video game engine, they can reposition the environments around them. So like as they're walking through the environment, it all looks real.
Right.
Most of The Mandalorian is not shot on location. It's shot in a digital studio. And so I think you could do...
be hard with sand.
Right. So I think you could do something like that for Dune, and you could have done this series the same way they shoot The Mandalorian, and could have done it... I don't know. From what I understand, the budget on this was pretty steep. It was like $150 million or some shit. And I'm sure a lot of that was because it was on location. And I'm trying to think, like... I'm sure there are subtle digital effects that you don't notice, but there's not like a ton of like stuff that feels CGI in that movie.
No, because I was thinking like even back to the explosions when they bombed the town, that didn't really seem CGI-ish.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some of the stuff with Harkonnens is probably a little CGI.
What's the Harkonnen?
The big those guys.
I
also think the whole thing was very well cast. Like Chalamet looks like Oscar Isaacs.
The son looks like the dad.
Paul looks like the Duke. I love the way that they played with like the voice and that being kind of akin to the Force.
Right.
And what you will find out is that the spice kind of brings on the same effect. And when Paul has his visions, the spice actually hones that ability, and that actually becomes a very big thing in later books. I'm not going to go too much into it because
he's a druggie.
There's lots of cool stuff that happens with it, but
he's a druggie after a while.
It basically gets to the point.
The limitless.
Do you remember in? Yeah, exactly. It's actually like. Do you remember in Endgame when Doctor Strange is floating there and he's like, "I just witnessed all 14 million possible outcomes of this fight, and there's only one in which we succeed." Paul has a similar ability with his premonitions and his visions. He gets to a point where he can see multiple outcomes, etc., right. Which is basically how he manages to survive. You'll see it towards the end, but how he manages to survive in that fight.
Listen, is that the fight that he envisioned? Was that at the end of the first part 1?
Yes.
In the tent?
Yes.
Listen, my nigga was going crazy. I was like, now that's really what got me there. When the gold dude was running through the war, and then he clicked his head and it showed that it was the dude, and then he was like even when he had the vision, he was like tripped out, like
right.
Me, like.
No, I'm with you.
I said, nah, this is okay. Now I might need
now you're
to
in.
See how deep his powers go, because my nigga was going through there like when, and then you think about, because I'm perspective, right? I'm a perspective guy, and then when you think about your boy Jason Momoa and how doggish he was,
yeah,
he wasn't that doggish.
No,
he wasn't that doggish the way he was running through that war.
Right.
So that lets you know, but see, that also lets me know that you also crammed a lot more into a short period of time, because if that happened by the end of the movie, what happened in between to make him that good of a fighter? It wasn't just the visions and the spice.
So
unless it is limitless,
it is a little bit.
Where it's like the spice slows me down. I'm good.
It is a little bit. I think that. Yes, there is more training. I think they do kind of hint at that doesn't all happen like over the course of days.
Right.
It's over the course of a decent period of time.
Right.
There is a fair amount that, to your point, isn't captured. But I mean, honestly, it's build up. It's not super relevant.
Right. Even that fight.
Yeah, okay. It's not super relevant. Like the stuff that they skipped over. Well, see, it would have been boring. It would have. I'm with you, but it would have been boring.
I want to see the wax on, wax off. That lets me
know.
Oh, that's how you learn to.
Well, and I think that's what they tried to hint at. Like, to your point,
in the beginning,
where he is training,
right?
They didn't go super in depth with it, but yeah. I'm actually excited that you liked it, man, because that was not. I wasn't sold on how accessible it would be to people that didn't.
It took a lot. I watched it 2 times before, or tried to.
Yeah.
And fell asleep the first half hour both times.
But that's just because you're narcoleptic.
Somewhat, and then it was slow.
No, it does. It does start.
It was
slow.
like. It was just slow.
Well, and I'm trying to think like the Gom Jabbar. Where he gets tested by the old woman.
Right. That was the first thing that kind of
took you out a little bit. Oh, no, it intrigued you?
That made me want to watch a little bit more when I saw he started getting the anger. Now it's not painful anymore. I'm getting upset.
Right. Well, and honestly, she starts reciting, and I mean, shit, the things on was on like my profile background for the long time. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings a total obliteration, and
right.
like that whole mantra is just. I mean, do yourself a favor, go back and find it somewhere online and read it. I think you would appreciate it.
I probably would.
But I was actually that was a piece that I wasn't sure how much I liked. So in the 1980s version of Dune, it's very cartoonish. It kind of makes
me want to watch that a little bit.
I will tell you that one rushes through everything.
Oh, that I won't.
And it's not. It is much hokier.
Right. No, well, I don't care about the hokiness, but I don't.
It's very Flash Gordon-y.
Okay.
And there is no character development. But Jean-Luc Picard plays the Jason Momoa character, if I remember correctly.
Really? Mm-hmm. That kind of throws me off even more.
But he was young. You got to remember, that was the late 70s, early 80s. So that was a young Jean-Luc.
Throws me off even more. I don't think I ever see Jean-Luc as the...
as the fighter?
Right.
Oh, man. No, it was good, though.
No, it was a good movie from I didn't see the end, but...
Well, and I think... So to your point around him and, like, him training, his real training is when he gets in with the Fremen.
Well, I mean...
So, like, his like, school training is one thing, but actually learning from the Fremen is something else.
Now, what I will say is the producer and director did a good job of letting you know his journey is a baptism by fire.
Yes.
When his mom got him up and got him, together and all, it lets you know, okay, he kind of has to do this on the job.
Yeah. Right. Like getting tested with like the poison needle to his neck. So that was actually, that's where I was trying to go earlier. So that sequence, there were no visual effects there. I mean, there was a little bit with the visions and stuff and the flashback between Paul and his mom. The way that's described in the book is that he feels, and I think they do it a little bit in the movie, he feels like his hand is literally on fire, and that by the time that she basically says that it's okay to remove his hand, what is going on in his mind and what he thinks is happening
I've seen
that his hand has been burned all the way to the bone and is ash.
I think I've seen that. I think
it's probably a scene that's come up elsewhere.
I think my grandfather
there you go.
has had that movie or something like that.
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of things that
seemed like vaguely familiar.
Right, but I didn't know where I would have seen it from, but that makes sense because he was big on showing me shit that he would think I would like he was the one that got me on Star Wars and shit, so he's always like that kind of shit. So that probably is where I've seen it from, and I just didn't really pay attention because that's how it was with Star Wars, if I'm being honest. Like,
right,
even at that young of an age, it was more so me recognizing this is what he likes. Let me, enjoy it with him more so than I enjoy it.
myself. It's like what we do for our kids now. Like, we'll watch something we're not a big fan of just to. And yes, we used to do the opposite thing. And honestly, a lot of the shit that I used to watch with my dad is still the stuff that I'm a fan of now.
Yeah, no. Well,
he said, yeah, no.
Yeah, no, not even my dad. No.
No,
I was a weird kid, though. Even my grandma used to say you didn't like your grandfather watch more cartoons than you did. All I remember doing back in the day is watching football highlights.
Yeah. No,
football highlights day in, day out. That's all I remember watching. Football or boxing highlights.
Yeah.
I didn't like cartoons. I watched them, if they were on going to sleep, but I'm not.
I don't know. I seem to remember you being a Rugrats fan back in the day.
I did like the Rugrats back in the day. That was my show. I'm sure I'd still get into that if I sat down in front of a few episodes.
Right. They just they're doing new episodes that are like CGI on Paramount Plus. It came up as an ad the other day.
I don't know if I'll get into the CGI. I don't know. Might have to see that.
See what happens.
Yeah, I might have to check that out. I always like the Rugrats. I can't.
And knock it. So that's Dune. Anything else to say on Dune before we close it out, other than you're looking forward to the next one?
Yeah, I gotta finish it. I gotta finish this one, and then I am looking forward. I'm definitely gonna.
I think that you will enjoy the last 45 minutes of it, and I think you will see exactly where it's going. Meaning the way that it wraps up isn't like, and honestly, I think this is part of the reason why I think you'll like it.
Does he meet Zendaya in this one?
He does.
Okay.
He does. And very critical that he does.
Okay.
And I think you already get a vibe for that from his visions
Right.
and like what's going on there. But the way it wraps up, it is very much getting jumped into the gang and then being taken in by the gang to be trained. That's kind of the way like it happens with the Fremen at the end. But that's how the movie ends.
Oh, okay.
So it's not. I think you'll like it because it's not your standard like sci-fi or like comic book type movie where it ends with the big battle that you know how it's going to end.
Right.
It leaves something to be desired.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
And it makes
kind of
you
shit.
want to see like, all right, so he's going in as a boy. Coming out of the next movie, he's going to come out as a man.
Right.
And I think
so. Well, like, what's the big battle? Well, I guess the Emperor didn't die, though, did he?
The Emperor didn't die. So the Emperor and the Harkonnens were in on all of this together.
Right, we knew that because when the dude said they brought us here to
so
die.
The big battle is that he basically takes Dune back, and he might take back more than Dune.
So it's
he might be the new Emperor.
Well, they hinted at that.
Yeah. And it's funny because
so it's Maze Runner vibes.
A little bit. The last book that I read was called The God Emperor of Dune. So I'll leave it at that.
Oh, so there's multiple books.
Oh yeah, no. So the main book I think is what the movies will cover.
Covering.
But
so that's what
there are
Bobby
at least
Lee and them were talking about, where they have the Star Wars.
Yeah, there are at least
vibes.
6 official books. I think there are 12 in total. And many people have like kind of come on and done their own shit. And honestly, I liked the second book okay. The third book was decent. After that, I started to fall off. Like it got a little too heady and a little too much even for me.
Right.
Like weird shit.
Right.
So, but no, I think what I think would be awesome is if they would basically do the first book as a movie and then transition it into a series. But start it basically at the end of the first movie. Because I think that even the second book, it jumps several years after the first book.
Oh, really?
So there is story that could be told in the middle.
So would you have to recast the main character?
No, because he may not even have to be in it.
Really?
He could be a figure kind of behind the scenes, and it could be about, say, his children. The Children of Dune is the second or third book.
Zendaya's kids?
Yeah.
You knew that.
Well, yeah, and the interesting thing is that the I forget what it's called, like the Kinhirat or the Kinsarat that the Bene Gesserit talk about in terms of they've been breeding towards kind of this, I don't want to say like perfect human, but this perfect candidate to basically to be a male that wields the voice that because the Bene Gesserit don't have any males, they get basically tested and killed, etc. If you had come to the pinnacle of that breeding program, the offspring of that person would be especially mixed with Fremen blood, would be
all powerful.
That's kind of the idea. And so that's where it gets
evil.
I'm trying to remember. I think he ends up with twins. I think it's a boy and a girl, and it's
one's
one
good,
goes
one's
this
bad.
way, one goes this way.
It would be,
which is why I'm saying like it wouldn't
be
even
the
have
boy.
to tie into the books. No,
it would be the girl.
the girl is who goes evil. At least in the books.
Well,
now
that
you could
would make
redo it
sense.
anyway.
No,
but
that would make more sense because the boy would have to be tested anyway. So that would make it seem like evil has the chance to prevail at all times because the boy would constantly be tested just to get a chance to fight the evil.
right.
So of course it would, right.
But it's very. That was the last book that I really liked. Was the one that kind of went into that story.
Right, that would be a good one. I would definitely enjoy something.
And that's one that I think could actually be very good as a series too. And it's that book. That one isn't quite as long, but I think you could do a lot with it.
A little Karina and Abel type vibe going on there, huh?
It would be. Woo! Heady stuff, man. I like it. It's been a while since we've had a good movie or a good show to talk about.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that. I can't lie. On that.
We're gonna have to come up with a fool's rating system. I give it 3 full mugs.
Is that out of 5? Is that out of what's that out of it?
Well, let's do it out of 5. I'll give it 4.5 full mugs. Just because it left me wanting a little bit more.
I haven't finished this, so I don't know if I can give.
You can give a fair rating yet.
Right.
All right. What's coming out that you're waiting for?
What's that Halle Berry joint?
Wait, Halle Berry has a movie coming out?
Yeah,
or
about her
show?
being the UFC fighter.
Ooh, no, I have not seen that.
It's a movie about her. She was the number 1 UFC fighter in the world or whatever, and she got pregnant and
It's the Becky Lynch story from pro wrestling.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know her. But yeah, she what's that?
It is the Nanny State from Brewdog.
What's Nanny State?
I don't know, but it's Hoppy Golden and it's alcohol free. You know, sometimes when I'm on camera with this stuff, I just want to point it out there.
Yeah, but nah, I guess.
You know what was funny though? So, one, there are no stores around here that sell it.
Oh, I'm sure.
But Instacart will pick it up for you because there are 1 or 2 stores in Columbus that sell it.
Oh, really?
The Instacart dude carded me. I'm like, dude, it's non-alcoholic. He's like, I know, man. They still carded me at the store. I'm like, that's fucked up.
I mean, I guess.
It is what it is.
I mean, I guess you can't sell non-alcoholic beer to kids.
Right, because how are you going to know? Meaning, if they were to leave with it, how is somebody going to know that it's non-alcoholic? It's just setting up a bad situation.
Well, I don't know if that was what I was thinking so
what were
much,
you thinking?
That's none of your fucking business. I'm thinking along the lines of you're kind of prepping them for alcoholic
All right, so
beer.
you're saying that's a gateway thing.
Right, like,
Right.
because if you're enjoying the taste of non-alcoholic beer and you don't drink alcoholic beer once you have the opportunity to, you're a fucking psychopath and you may need to be put down. Yeah, I might have to wear these glasses more often.
I mean, it does make you. It makes you look a lot smarter. It's a backhanded compliment.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you said Halle Berry joined about her being a UFC fighter.
Oh yeah, she was like a top UFC fighter, and she got pregnant and left the kid with her parents so she could continue her career, and her parents end up dying or something.
Okay.
But by the time her parents died, she was like on bad times, so they dropped the kid back off to her, but since she was on bad time, she didn't know of any way to get back on her feet than to get back into fighting type shit. So it's like a comeback.
Like a comeback story. Mm-hmm. Always good for a comeback story.
Pretty good.
No, I like
seeing Halle Berry in that kind of role.
I mean,
it's outside of her.
Yeah, it's outside of her wheelhouse. But I mean, she's got it. Does she look the part of a fighter in the trailer? Like, I don't know that I would consider her.
Halle Berry has a very feeble neck.
Right. Like, she's getting her head snapped.
She has a very feeble neck. I just said that to say, like, I don't think that she would ever look the part of a fighter.
Okay.
But she doesn't look like Halle Berry.
No. Did she bulk up for the role?
Halle Berry has a very feeble neck.
Was she doing the neck machine?
She needed to. Somebody should have strapped a fucking 35 to her cranium is all I'm saying. Because she has a very feeble neck.
So for those that don't know, Halle Berry has a very feeble neck.
Listen, if you ever fight Halle Berry, go for the neck.
It's long, too. I feel like she'd be susceptible for a guillotine, for...
Could stretch her shit out like a balloon animal. Tie her ass in a knot.
Very, very susceptible to the rear naked choke.
Don't get in the bed with The Rock, is all I'm saying. If you have a
The Rock would be gentle with her.
Oh, shit.
This is fun. I forgot how good this could be.
Yeah, I'm enjoying myself.
I'm glad we're back.
I'm enjoying myself.
What do you think of the studio setup?
I like it. I feel like I'm on the set of Johnny Carson. Like I should do a stand-up.
I mean, we can set that up right over there.
Right before I come on and sit down on the couch, I should do a
quick 5
monologue.
Do a tight 5.
Might have to do that one of these episodes. Set up a monologue camera.
I mean, we could. We've definitely got the shit. I've got enough fucking cameras laying around.
do it like the Late Show.
There you go. I'm just happy I finally got all the fucking signs up, man. Like, this shit's been sitting around forever.
I was looking at that. It's a nice little... It's an upgrade. It's an upgrade from what it was.
Yeah, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And I like... One, I'm happy to be back in here.
Mm-hmm.
This is much more us, much more comfortable being in this area, but more like just in the attic again. Like, this is where the shit started. This is where the dream began.
Right.
And so it's nice to kind of be back in it, and yeah, man.
It feels homier.
It definitely does. Definitely better than the fucking basement. The dungeon.
Listen.
All right. So we got one other topic that I threatened you with.
What's the next topic? Oh, vaccination shit or whatever?
Vaccine mandates.
School me on some shit because I don't know nothing about it.
So there is basically a mandate now that any private company with more than 100 employees, if social distancing isn't possible, they are supposed to be mandating vaccines.
Yeah, I heard. I didn't hear that specifically, but I heard they're supposed to be trying to.
And so January 4th, rules go into effect that basically companies are... I don't think it's just able to mandate vaccines. It's almost like they are requested to mandate vaccines.
Yeah, we had a meeting at work, something about it.
Yeah. So I think on that front, like, I know I have a couple of folks on my team who are like...
Yeah, I don't really give a fuck. I'm religious.
There you go.
If y'all can't...
Conscientious objection.
Period. If y'all can't get me a permanent work from home position...
Do what you got to do. I mean, that's the thing. I'm sure if they have to terminate somebody for religious exemption, Which I don't know how that's all going to play out, man.
I'm religious, that's all I know. That's going to be
Cliff is on record now on the Two Fools Agree podcast on November 5th at about 10:24 p.m.
Religious as fuck. You hear what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what religion, just know that my God doesn't believe in it.
There you go.
Period. I just feel like that's the muddiest road for them to go down.
Yeah.
So
and I think it's only, and honestly, I think it's only, I don't remember the specifics. Like, I wanted to say that it was only private companies that do business directly with the federal government that are mandated. But to your point, like, our office is gathering information on it right now and expecting so that in January that there's going to be an ask for vaccine mandates. Now, I will say that my team, we don't have to work in the office, so I don't give a fuck.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I'm not terminating anybody.
The fact that I've had the capability for more than 12 months now to work from home, and you're trying to tell me that I need a vaccination to do what exactly?
Well, no, they shouldn't be. I mean, ultimately, companies shouldn't be forcing people to go back if their productivity's been good or better working from home. There is no fucking reason that we should go back to this culture of needing to be in the office. And the biggest thing for me as a leader at a big company, my people are more productive working from home.
Really?
They're not wasting, like, honestly, they are logging in from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. most days. Whereas before, they would be traveling from like 8 to 9, or they would be driving from 7 to 8 and then not logging in until 8. And at the end of the day, like, people have a better quality of life if they like working from home. People are more productive and they have a better quality of life, especially, I will say, especially people with families and people and parents, because one, they're getting to spend more time with their kids. Two, they're not having to kill, anywhere from 20 minutes each trip to get to the office in terms of a commute.
All I know
20 minutes up to an hour. Like, I don't understand why anybody thinks that going back to the office at this point is a good idea.
All I know is I'm scheduling all my doctor's appointments and my dentist visits before January.
You got to get that. Make sure you caught up on the insurance shit.
Because if there's a chance I'm going to lose it, might as well use it.
Yeah.
But if I lose it, I damn sure ain't paying y'all motherfuckers back. And that was also said on 11:05.
10:27.
Listen, understand that.
I ain't paying shit.
You better ask the motherfuckers that let me go.
Better talk to them. Just make sure your claims are all in.
I'm religious.
Praise be. Blessed be the fruit.
It's only one set of footprints, baby, but we walking together.
I carried you, man.
Listen, I ain't shit, but continue carrying me, Lord.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, you know how I feel about vaccines. I will tell you that the fact that it's now approved for kids, I'm actually less pushy about than I was for, like, grown folks and adults. I'm also not pushy about it. At the end of the day, it's, to your point, it's a personal decision. And if you get sick, you get sick. Now, do I think hospitals maybe should have the right to refuse you if you chose not to get vaccinated? Maybe. But at the same time, well, I also don't know that it's at the point where it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know it was deadly. I know people died, but again, from a volume of people that actually died from it, I just don't know.
More people died from AIDS in the year, and I don't see everybody asking for people to get
an
on
AIDS vaccine
Chimera or whatever the fuck that shit is. That's my whole thing, is there's an agenda behind it. What, I do not know.
Right.
But the fact that everybody needs to be vaccinated and it's this big of a deal just makes me even more uncomfortable about getting vaccinated.
Right.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Is it population control?
I don't know what it is. And remember when we first started, well, not when we first started the podcast, it was a little bit into it, but we had that conversation. Did you ever watch that show Utopia on Amazon?
Yeah.
When
I watched it.
It's
the same thing.
And I think that's still the play out, right? Because if you're pushing the vaccine this strongly on everyone, the only thing that I could think is the long-term effects would be infertility.
I mean, it's possible, but it's either that or the Thanos snap.
Because
eventually we're going to wipe out eventually the human population is going to grow beyond what the Earth can support.
Well, I think we're teetering at that point as we speak. And that's exactly the point that I was just about to make is, the one guy that's been pointing out population control for years is the same guy that also put out not a book, but I don't know what you would call it, about COVID-19, who is also the guy who's pushing the vaccines.
Okay.
And if you don't know who that is, ladies and fucking gentlemen, it's the same guy who tried to buy water. And if that doesn't seem population control-ish,
I hear you.
that's all I'm saying. And Lord knows, listen, if all I had to worry about from the vaccine is not having another child, sign me up at 11:05, 12 o'clock midnight. I'll take that bitch willingly. But once again, I don't trust motherfuckers. I just don't trust them. And the fact that you're now pushing it on kids, and I highly doubt that whatever science you did behind that vaccine, whether it be infertility, is strong enough to last in a child for 15 years until they choose to have kids.
Right.
So what is it really? You know what I mean? Like, what's really going on here? And until I have an understanding, not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I understand the point around wanting to see it proven out over a longer duration of time, because the vaccines that we are required to get coming in through school, etc., like those vaccines have been out for decades. Right? And I know Rita's out in the chat. So, Mom, if there are more recent required vaccines that are less than, let's say, 15, 20 years, anything, honestly, if it's less than 10, that's still more data than you would have on like a COVID vaccine at this point. Like, the most you would have on a COVID vaccine at this point is 2 years max.
Would it be that? And I feel like the 2 years probably wouldn't be the same compound
strains,
or structure as what's being given now.
Right.
So
but the theory is that you're always improving it, whatever. But to your point,
but I mean, that's faulty data at that point. So we can't use that. Throw that out the window. Where are we at? 6 months now?
Yeah.
A year?
It's coming up on a year.
And there were
because they started vaccinating people in December and January
for people that got in December. That's what I'm saying. Like, no, listen. If y'all were reliable, by y'all I mean the United States government.
You want to see, basically what you want to see is you want to see the study 5 years from now that basically says what were the long-term effects.
It's like, what it's like to me is like I'm working for my job, my current job, and they say, we have your best interest at heart. You should do this. Well, I've been working for you.
Yeah.
For this so I know that not to be
I know that's bullshit.
So why would I then bend the knee to someone that I know you're not who you're saying you are? I.e. the government. You are not who you're saying you are. And then you want me to bend the knee for what? Because you're not protecting me from anything.
No, and that's been proven. I mean, time and time again, we've seen that.
Right. So if I am not being protected by you, why would I then choose to take your form of protection for something that I feel like I can protect myself from?
Right.
Or maybe not protect myself from, but fight off naturally.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that.
I'm not gonna.
And the argument there is that it's not about you. It's about your grandparents, your whoever.
Well, it's not about mine.
Right.
Because mine didn't give a fuck when it was going on.
There you go. There you go.
And that's what I'm saying. If I'm working from home and I'm only around my specific people, stay the fuck out of my business.
Right. No,
You butting into my business is putting you at danger.
Right.
For two reasons. Because I could have COVID or I could pop fly and get upset and try to put hands on you.
Right.
So stay the fuck out of other people's business. Everything was fine when it was the 6 feet rule.
Right.
Stay the fuck away from me.
Right. I actually would like that to be permanent and to never have somebody within 6 feet of me again.
Stay the fuck away from me.
Unless we've agreed to enter. It's the office linebacker thing. Stay out of my personal space bubble, Sharon.
It's almost like if you choose to step inside of my 6 foot radius and open your mouth, I can now defend myself.
Right. It's stand your ground is now
I can now
applicable
defend
to
myself because I feel threatened by your viral
potential.
You feel what I'm saying?
I mean, I think that that's a perfect rule, and I would like to enforce that rule everywhere I go. That if you step within 3 feet of me, I'm allowed to fuck you up.
3 feet, you didn't even have to open your mouth. Listen, there's so many times I'm in that motherfucking Speedway on Broad Street that I gotta turn around and look at a motherfucker like.
Oh man, that one in particular is the worst, and the worst is when somebody is behind you on their speakerphone, just like yapping, and you can feel their breath on you because they're so close.
See, I have like I feel like everybody has it. They just may not know they have it, but I have like one of those spider senses where if somebody is too close or out of position, it's like you know how like you can sense know how kids do that shaking thing and it makes your ears go yeah. Like I get that when people come into your bubble. And that bothers me, right? Because I don't want my ears ringing.
Right.
So back the fuck I'm uncomfortable.
This is all back to energies and frequencies. You are fucking up my vibe
That's
now.
That's exactly what it is.
And if you fuck up my vibe, I'm allowed to fuck you up.
You know what? Amen. And I just thought of another inadvertent. Listen.
There we go. Back at it.
Wow, we can clink now. How about that? Catch me outside. That brought me to another inadvertent.
What you got? And it's good because this will probably help transition.
Right. Got into another inadvertent, right?
What you got?
And you said the frequencies, right? And this is to prove for all the sleep people that are out there that don't believe. I'm about to prove it to you. First, I'm gonna prove it to you with a situational theory and then an experiment.
Okay.
Drive it home, right?
I like that. Where the fuck did you come from?
You know what I'm saying?
This is not the Clifford Jennings that I know.
I'm just saying. Maybe I need.
Where'd my guy go?
These are just plastic. If I had some frames on y'all hoes, I wouldn't need a college degree. Is all I'm saying.
You know what's gonna keep me warm at night? That's right. My degrees.
Listen. Well, I got glasses. Who needs a degree? But, so, vibrations, frequencies, all that jazz. People being able to feel them, whatever the case may be, right?
Mm-hmm. I've been running a lot of my own experiments on this. I'll let you know later.
And I'm about to,
offline.
And this might even help you, right?
All right, I'm listening.
So you know why they say. So think about it. The number one. I don't want to even go into statistics because they could be wrong, but on average, I would say most cheaters or single people that run into people that they end up flinging with, what's one place that you see that happen a lot outside of the workplace?
Ooh.
Cheating or flings or quick flings, where you see that happen just in your...
Kids' friends or kids' school?
That's interesting. No, but it have to be somewhere where you can feel frequency. In kids' friends, kids' schools, you usually, deal with kids' parents, kids' mothers,
stuff, yeah.
And it's not enough time
Fair.
for our frequencies to come together for us to vibe like that.
Church.
That's a good one, too.
Or other religious whatever.
I also think that people hide their frequencies in
church. That's fair.
I don't think they release their actual frequency. I think they turn down the
I'm trying to think what are other,
I can tell you,
big social gatherings.
It's right on the. It's right in front of you. It's beyond my question. It's the number one spot.
I mean, it's friends. I don't know.
The gym.
The gym. All right, fair.
Who fucks the trainer?
True.
Cheats on you with the trainer. You fuck the guy at the gym. And ask yourself why. Because while you're lifting weights,
you're amplifying
your vibrations. So the experiment.
Having never picked a girl up at the gym of all places, fair. But that's not my experience.
I never have picked someone up in the gym, but I've had sex with someone I've been at the gym with, and beyond that, I've noticed the more animal instinct of attraction in the gym.
Well, it's because it's the pheromones. Pheromones are at their peak when you're sweating, and
that could be the case, or it could be vibrations, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Same idea, but yeah.
This is where I got this inadvertent, right? So I was laying down watching TV, laying in my bed, and you know how you can lay on your side with your head with your hand like this, while you're watching. So instead of doing that for everybody in the camera, I was laying down with my arm on my bicep.
Okay.
Right? And I was just laying like this. So I don't remember what specifically happened, and this is the experiment for everybody at home. I had my my ear directly on my bicep, and something happened to where I flexed.
You flinched.
My muscle,
flexed.
Right? And while I was flexing, you can hear from your muscle a and it stops when you stop flexing. But when you start flexing, you hear the which let me know, okay. Because I've always had that question of how you've seen someone in public and you're like, I want to send them a signal. But not like a look or a
nod.
You want to amplify your
energy to
where
see if they pick up on it.
Exactly. And that was my first thought was when I heard that was, oh, so you're amplifying energy when you're straining as well. So naturally, by you being in the gym and working out close in proximity to someone else,
they're picking up on your
frequency just from you. You know,
because you're putting it out at a higher volume than usual. I hear you.
So it's like that. That made me think that's natural then that people would meet up in the gym.
Yeah.
Because whether they know it or not, they're giving off a higher frequency, which is easier for someone that doesn't pick up on that to catch.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
They may not pick up on frequencies at all, but in that gym when you were lifting, I felt something.
Yeah.
And they may just think, oh, that was a feeling in my groin. Or no, you felt their energy, and it just touched you where you felt the need to be touched the most.
Where did the energy touch you?
The vagina. Listen.
No, man, I've been a big proponent of frequencies and energies pretty much since we started having those conversations.
They're real.
A few months ago, so.
You just got to be aware of
And you've got to be aware, and when, I think what we've talked about in the past is when you pick up on someone else's that amplifies your own.
Right. That's a
That's where the attraction is like the biggest.
That's a very great point to make, right? That's a very great point to make because we see so many times what we now call in this generation the toxic relationship.
Yeah.
But it's not that your relationship is toxic. It's that your energy mixed with his energy is toxic. Causing a negative, a positive and a negative reaction where there's a push away, but we also know if you flip that around, there's a pull as well.
Yep.
So when you're in a good mood, it's a pull, but when you're in a bad mood, it's a push away, and that's conflicting energies, which ends up coming off as a toxic situation. And it is, you know what I'm saying? But it's up to you to recognize, because there's a lot of people that I know that I won't name personally that are addicted to those situations, because I think you're not picking up on the energy. And like you said, you want the person that's going to alley-oop your energy.
Right.
The person, when your energies come together, it's that much stronger. As opposed to you weakening my energy.
Instead of the
or
conflict.
Making my energy so strong, I want to hurt you and whatever's
around me. Right. No, I think that's, those vibrations, those energy, you can tell when they are harmonious and when they're synced versus when there's discord with them. And you can also tell when it is situational. Like there could be situations with someone where the energy is super amplified, and then there are other ones where it's not really amplified, but it's not discord either.
You know, this conversation makes me want to talk to Matt.
Yeah.
Because it makes me think of music, right? And like the frequencies of the guitar strings and the different kind of chords you
can play, like what?
And I know that they have conflicting chords that make good strums. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the reason why I would like to talk to him is because I wonder what it is about that string from a music standpoint that makes you call it conflicting.
Right.
As opposed to what chords are harmonious. And see if there's a correlation between energies and relationships.
I think that is entirely too smart for you.
Glasses. This is the glasses episode.
We're going to have to bring the glasses back occasionally, apparently.
Well, depending on how long this concussion lasts. Because it's been 8 weeks of this shit.
Jeez, dude.
Well, the symptoms just kicked in this past week. Since last Monday is when it started being like I can't stare at the screen, couldn't get through my work day.
Okay.
I was rubbing icy hot on my eyebrows because I was like trying to stop the headache
I don't know if that's necessary.
Well, it was the muscle of my eyebrow from being like this all day, trying to see through the
glare or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
So this was like tight at all times. I had to put icy hot on it to loosen it up.
Putting icy hot that close to your eyes cannot be
it was
comfortable.
a little spicy.
Yeah, no shit.
But it wasn't nothing to stop me, you know. A little spicy.
Spicy. Damn, dude.
We good now. Now I just got glasses.
Glasses.
And I think I'm smarter for it.
There you go.
They plastic. They plastic like prison glasses. Like the glasses they give you.
Picked those up at CVS.
No, these was Amazon's.
Okay.
I actually went to CVS and I need to see if I can take them back. I bought some blue when the symptoms first started happening. I was like, oh, I can't do this. Like I was getting sick, like almost feeling like I was gonna throw up.
Have you talked to a doctor on any of this?
Yeah, I gotta get a CAT scan.
Okay.
I gotta get a CAT scan on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. The funny thing about it is, the only reason why I got the CAT scan is because the headaches were getting real bad.
Yeah.
Then I scheduled the CAT scan, and they started lightening up, and I was thinking I should cancel that. Save.
So you canceled it, and then it came back?
Nah, I'm going because they told me before I get a CAT scan, I gotta get an X-ray.
X-ray, yeah.
Bitch.
We actually just went through that with
Bitch.
Claire. Actually just went through it with
I don't
Claire.
need that CAT scan that bad.
That is an insurance thing, though. That's not a medical thing, which is stupid.
Yeah, that's why I say, bitch. You think I'm about to pay for that too? Yeah, I'd cancel all this shit.
Don't you have insurance?
I still gotta pay.
I understand. There's a level of having to
Right.
pay.
Fuck that. It's not that important. Headaches ain't
Your brain isn't that important.
Headaches ain't as bad anymore. I'm getting old.
Fair. But you're still wearing the glasses, so something's still bothering you.
Yeah, nah, it's getting better, but yeah, it's still some, you know.
Alright.
But it's getting better. If I'd have waited another week, I wouldn't have went through with anything. But
Gotcha.
the fact that I was
already
missing like work, like I think I missed a day and a half of work from it, I was like, let me go ahead and check it out.
Yeah.
Because I can't miss work. But now that I'm in a position where I can get through the whole work day,
Gotcha.
I really don't give a fuck about that appointment anymore.
No, I hear you.
That was my only concern.
But
You can't stop me from dying.
So the glasses have been enough to, like, help you get through the workday?
Yeah, and they also gave me some medicine for migraines.
Okay.
And I don't know how much of it is to that.
Gotcha.
Because I only take it when I need it. You know what I mean? Like,
Which
if
is
I
what
don't.
You're supposed to do with medicine like that.
Well, I don't know, because it said take it every 6 hours. Like, and it's one of them where they want you to dissolve it on your tongue, like, not swallow it. So that seems like they want it in your system more than. So, but even still, I'm only like, nah, if I don't need it, I ain't taking it. Okay. But I don't know how much of it is, attributed to the medicine working, or how much of it is the side effects subsiding, or
Gotcha.
the symptoms.
The symptoms finally just heal.
But I can get through a day of work, so shit. If they tell me the question is, I need an X-ray, how much is that going to cost?
Right.
And then if that's pocket? Yeah, you can cancel all that. I'll see my primary, and we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
Because I'm not about to just be giving y'all motherfuckers money.
I hear you. I don't disagree.
Y'all got enough. I'm broke. Fuck.
That reminds me, I need to go get glasses before the end of the year.
Now I realized I don't need glasses because I bought, like I said, I went to CVS on my lunch break. It was so bad.
You buy some like readers or something?
I bought some blue blockers, but I didn't know that they all had a prescription on them. Like,
gotcha.
The lowest you could get is a 1.5, and I put them on, and I was even like,
made it worse.
Like, I'm getting busier with these bitches. So these are a 0, but they blue blockers, so they don't really give me no kind of,
additional amplification.
I said
magnification.
Right. They
Gotcha.
but they help.
Well, good. Good.
Because that screen is bright as shit, baby, and my eyes would be damn near closed.
Well, that screen was only there in case we got a call in, and we didn't get any, so.
That's because I've been covering it. I've been too smart for these motherfuckers today, baby. 2 + 2 is 5.
He just threw his shit.
See how that happens? Take them off, lose your powers. They call me Samson. I want to talk to Samson.
You are a fool.
Sorry, they plastic. Them is Fisher Price. That was just an excuse so I could run to the bathroom.
I knew it. I knew that's what that was. Fucking genius.
This is Chestnut Checkers, baby.
Have you seen? So we'll give you your transition to run to the bathroom. Have you seen the trailer for Book of Boba Fett?
No.
All right, so go ahead and leave.
Well, I know about Bobo though. That's the bounty hunter from
the
Star
original
Wars
trilogy.
that flew with the jetpack.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I know about him.
they introduced. So he's in Mandalorian season 2.
I gotta catch up with you. Do it because I gotta catch up on Mandalorian in general.
Yeah. So he is in Mandalorian season 2, and instead of jumping right to Mandalorian season 3, which is still coming, they are doing a Book of Boba Fett kind of interlude that I think will still tie into the Mandalorian because it is basically picking up where Boba Fett's story in the Mandalorian ended. At least that's what it looks like based on the trailer. So they introduced a trailer, and at the end of Mandalorian season 3, the Boba Fett basically shows up at Jabba's palace and wrecks shop and takes over. I think that this, at least the way that it looks in the trailer, is picking up right from basically that moment where he, I think, iced Bib Fortuna. And, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, it looks just like The Mandalorian. It looks like it is a complete spin-off of The Mandalorian, and in my book, that's not a bad thing. What is it? Ming-Na Wen is also in it, so Fennec Shan from Mandalorian also crosses over, and I think I actually heard the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, I think I actually heard his voice in the trailer as well. So I think that's supposed to be coming out to Disney Plus here in the next couple of weeks. Once it does, I'm sure I will have a little bit of input. I might try to jump on and do like a 10 to 15 minute review for each episode, try to bring back the sub show to this, which is the One Fool's Opinion. But really looking forward to that one coming out. There's a bunch of streaming stuff that's coming. It's just it all feels like it's going to be November, December before it actually gets here, or January. So we've got The Witcher 2 that should be coming out soon.
I want to see that.
They've published the trailer for that.
Did they?
Yeah, there's a relatively new trailer that's out for that.
Oh, I gotta see that.
And it
doesn't look good.
No, it looks good. I'm trying to think. It looks like it picks up with him and Cirilla.
I don't know if I finished it.
When we last talked about it, you hadn't. Because it was one of those shows that like you liked and you didn't want it to end.
Yeah, I think I'm on the last episode. I think I just never watched the final episode.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a good show. So that's coming back. You've got Stranger Things Season 4, which I thought was supposed to come out by now. Is it out yet?
No, not that I've seen.
So I thought that was supposed to drop at the end of October.
Know there was another one.
There is, and it's shot and all of that. So that should be coming out. You've got, what else? You've got Cobra Kai that's dropping in January, I think.
Really? What about The Last
Harry
Kingdom?
Silver. The Last Kingdom. Oh, that's the
Viking.
I did end up watching a little bit of that after you recommended it. I couldn't really get into it, but that's one I should go back to.
That's when you gotta. It's like a Dune.
Yeah, you gotta kind of get into it.
They have to establish too much before
things start like coming into
the show
play.
Doesn't start until he's an adult.
Okay.
Until the main character becomes a man, and then that's when the show starts. But leading up until then, it's rough.
It's a little rough to get through.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just
because he starts as like a Catholic and then gets kidnapped and raised as a Viking. So until they set up the whole backstory, the show doesn't start until the Catholics come back to, like, I don't know if they're coming to save him or they're just coming to kill the Vikings, but they end up killing members of his family, the Vikings that raised him.
Yeah.
And he gets pissed off.
Okay. I think I made it to probably just before that happened, and I was like,
right.
I kind of fell off.
No.
All right.
Once
I'll go back and give
Viking
it another shot.
Family, he's like, oh, y'all fucked up. Here I come.
All right.
And then it mixes up to where he gets back to the Catholics, and he's like, well, damn, I can't kill all y'all because y'all still family. And then it's like the Vikings are like, oh, you ain't gonna kill them because, well, who you love more? And then he's in a
what's family really mean type thing.
It's a good one.
So that's the Last Kingdom, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I know they have to, if they haven't announced it coming out, they have to be working on it because that was a big name of one of them before they started dropping the newer shows.
Gotcha. All right. No, yeah.
I think it's on season 4 right now, so season 5 is what we're waiting on.
Gotcha. Oh, speaking of season, I think it's season 4. Ozark? Yeah, you never got into Ozark, did you?
And Ashley was just talking to me about that the other day. Like, you need to watch it, and I just can't get into it.
Did you try to watch it, and it just didn't capture you?
I've seen a couple episodes because Whoop used to watch it.
Oh, okay.
And I watched it with him a few times when he was over, but it just, like, I get the premise, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan of the
Jason Bateman or whatever.
I love Jason Bateman in certain shit. I like him in this for it being more serious, but I guess what I was getting at is I'm not a fan of the middleman mole character.
Gotcha.
The character that can't do for themselves but can manipulate a situation to survive.
I could.
And that's what that whole show is about.
That's exactly what
Neither
it is.
one of you are capable of defending or caring for yourselves, but you're smart enough to manipulate the situation to stall out the outcome. I'm not a fan of that.
That actually makes complete sense to me for you.
Right, I'm not a fan of that. Let's just stand up to whatever's going on and get it done. And if I go, I go. But I'm not going to act like there's no point in trying to stall it out.
Right.
Like, we're here now.
This is what we're doing.
I guess.
No, that makes sense to me. And I think you and I have had a little bit of topic or conversations on that topic in general, too, on other shows, not just Ozark, but yeah.
Even her fucking the other dude and that being on his mind, that was the whole situation was like mole-ish. Like, even her, like, you were, like, it's just like nobody's real.
Right.
Nobody can just be like, this is what it is. You got a problem with it or not.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
I can't find myself rooting for a character like that. I guess is why I haven't gotten into that. And then I can think of so many other shows with the same dynamic that are more interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, I need to break myself.
Like Bloodlines and like there are other
so many, like even Sons of Anarchy was built on
kind of that same
that
principle.
Premise. Right. There were certain characters that handled their shit, but then there were certain characters that played that mole role that were like, let me just buy myself some time so they don't.
Yeah.
And that's that whole vibe.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you.
But you made the whole show about that character instead of
having it just be an ancillary part.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I guess I can't watch it. I can watch it, I just don't get into it.
Yeah.
Because I find myself rooting for the other guy.
Right,
like,
you're rooting for the cartel.
Right, like, get him.
I mean, that was Breaking Bad kind of had that vibe a little bit, except that he would go out and
I think that, but you know what's ironic about that is that I fell off right as he was getting to be a gangster.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what I was waiting on for so long.
That you just fell off before that happened.
It took too long.
But that's also why that's a good show, although I'm with you. Like, there are middle seasons of Breaking Bad where I'm like,
if you're going to do it,
shit.
right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just have your hands halfway dirty.
Yeah.
Once you get dirt on your hands, they're dirty already. Continue.
Right.
You chose this. Continue.
It's the life you chose.
The fuck? I don't like that. Well, let me wash it off.
Right.
That's that blood on my... I can't get the blood off my hands. You shouldn't have been doing this. Get the fuck out of here. Cartel, go take care of that. They're loose ends. The fuck?
Oh, shit. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I am excited about some of the Star Trek shows that are coming up, like Discovery's coming back, Picard Season 2's coming back.
You know what's crazy?
What's crazy?
There's clearly been a shift, right? Because I found myself wanting to watch Star Trek.
Oh, did you?
But all the episodes that I looked at were too old. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, the style was a little too grainy. And then the newer ones weren't the people that I wanted on the show.
So you want to watch Picard?
That might be.
Yeah.
That might actually be.
Because at least some of those characters are familiar.
Right. That might actually be.
Because it is definitely a newer film style, a newer aesthetic.
Paramount?
Yeah, it's Paramount Plus.
God. I might have to just...
And that one's not bad.
Isn't it a bundle or something like that with Hulu?
I don't...
That's ESPN.
No, that's ESPN and Disney Plus and Hulu.
Yeah, that's what that is. Together. If I could sub it out for like Disney for Paramount.
Well... Do the Disney Plus.
Well, Disney has what, the Mandalorian
and all of the Marvel shows.
I'll have to update my Hulu.
Yeah. The other one is, but the Paramount Plus is cheaper than most. Like, I want to say it's like $4.99 a month or something like that.
Oh, really?
Because they do like the same as Hulu. They like do the with commercials option.
Right. I don't mind a commercial.
But I feel like that one, if I remember correctly, that one's either $4.99 a month or $5.99 a month.
Either way,
it's relatively cheap.
And what's on there? Picard and what else?
So all of the Star Trek shows.
I don't have to get that.
What do you got to get?
No, I was just thinking. I don't got to get Paramount. I know somebody with.
Oh, there you go. I mean, you're in a room with somebody who has it too.
Well, yeah, right. I was just thinking because I know somebody that had Paramount that was like, you need to like log into mine and see if you like it. And I was like,
Yeah.
And it was really just a situation where I tried to download it and something happened and I was like, it's not worth me.
It's not worth figuring it out.
Continuing, right.
No, I get that. When it first launched last year, and even CBS Plus before that, or whatever CBS All Access was before it, the UI and the login shit just sucked. Now, it's gotten a little better than what it used to be.
I don't know. It was something with the login, and I was like, fuck this. It's not worth it.
I will go back to...
type my email address in twice on a Roku remote?
Right. This goes back to... I think you and I had this conversation. This was like one of my big first world problem, I understand. But somebody who figures out how to solve for me logging in on my TV without having to enter my login information with a fucking click remote.
I hate it. They'd be like, well, log into this site at roku.us. Fuck you.
At least put the QR code on the screen for me if they're going to make me do it on my phone.
Shit. Motherfuckers. But, I was watching something recently. What have I been watching recently that's been catching my eye?
I've got one that somebody recommended to me called You on Netflix.
I can't get into it. That's another one where he's the murderer and he, have you watched it?
Yeah, I'm through the first season.
Yeah, I couldn't get through the first season. I just don't. I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting.
Conceptually, it was interesting to me. Like, it drew me in right away.
Concept.
And then it did feel like it was starting to repeat itself a little
I mean, it's Dexter.
Kinda. Yeah.
It's Dexter.
I definitely got Dexter vibes from it.
That's what it is. But Dexter was more interesting because he worked with the police. This motherfucker's a librarian.
Right. Nobody gives a fuck about you. I will say that I thought the first season was going to end and you were going to find out that it was all a book that Beck had written, the blonde.
Oh, like it wasn't real.
Yeah, that's where I thought it was
That's
going.
interesting. I didn't get in that deep to...
Yeah.
I think I stopped watching when he got the first girl that he was stalking and the dude did something to her or something, and didn't he like lock him up in the library basement? It was after that I fell off.
Yeah. Yep.
And I probably literally fell asleep.
Wow.
And just said, fuck it, I'm not watching that anymore.
So what else did you think of what it was that you're watching or what caught your attention?
What have I been watching recently? It's been something. Oh, speaking on the sci-fi kick, they did release season 2 of Another Life on Netflix. I did watch some of that.
Did you?
I didn't finish it though.
See, I don't remember if I finished season 1.
I'm not as interested in season 2 as I am season 1.
But that's the one with
the one girl,
the one blonde.
yeah.
Not Bonnie Somerville.
I wouldn't know her name. She has a real distinct face, though.
Yeah, no, she's on Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah,
she's
exactly
I'm blanking on her name.
That's exactly who that is.
But yeah.
But yeah, no, I like the first season. Second season is a little...
She's also on Mandalorian.
Oh, really?
She did the voice for a cartoon character on the Clone Wars for a long time, and then because she did the voice
with the gold or with the blue.
with the blue,
stripes.
yep, the blue Mandalorian, basically, yep.
Yeah.
Well done. And you ain't even seen it, huh?
Never. Never.
What, Another Life? But you said that one didn't catch you.
I wasn't a fan. I fell off of that too.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I made it through the first season. Like I like the concept. The problem is that the show with Hilary Swank did it better. Like there was another Netflix show that was.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about. I didn't think that they were similar because now I'm gonna have to try to look that up to see if I like that. But this one, like you said, you used the word heady. It was the Dune books.
Yeah.
That's how this one was. Like it got to a point where I still didn't figure out what exactly happened, but I got the gist that she was like abducted.
Okay.
And she was having visions, but the visions were happening in her head.
Okay.
And she wasn't actually where she thought she was. Like, it was some weird shit.
Like blurring reality versus
and I
what...
was like, yeah, I don't even feel like... Because, like, you know me, like...
It's funny you say that. That's actually what actually took me out of the first episode of You. Like, I really liked You conceptually in the first episode.
And then
except where they were doing, like, the jump between,
like,
is this real or...
Real,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's kind of how this was. And then it was so weird. Like, there was an episode where, like, you know that thing that's up there, and the guy was communicating with it, and that's her husband. But her husband's on Earth. And she's out there. And then there was a situation where the daughter who was sick, you know, that the husband was taking care of, got so sick that one of the people told him to take her to the spacecraft and place her and they would take care of her.
Take care of her.
And he did that. They took her in, but they left him out, and he started freaking out like they took my daughter type shit.
Gotcha.
And it turns out she was in there with the daughter.
Okay.
And she was speaking to her, but she was thinking it was a dream. So she was being real mean to her at first, like you're not who like
you're not who
fuck,
I think you are.
And then she found out that it was really her, because she ran out the door of the spacecraft like to her dad, and she heard the dad's voice and was like, "Wait a minute!" And she tried to run to it. Door shuts, everything goes black. She wakes up somewhere else, type shit. So it's like,
what's real? What's
happened?
not?
Like, was that like an astral projection? Like, what happened there? Like, and I don't know. Maybe I didn't watch the whole season, but I shouldn't have to watch multiple episodes to figure out what was going on.
No, I hear you.
And then I just stopped watching. I mean, I guess. Listen, what I will say is, as much in, and that's why I said that there's a shift, right? Because I feel like this whole shit is nothing that I've ever been interested in.
Yeah.
But clearly something's happened to where now I find it interesting.
I think you just missed me and you wanted some of me in your life, and so just needed a little sci-fi and nerdiness in your life because I wasn't around for a little while.
You popped in every now and then on the podcast, so I hit the showers. I think I got enough for you.
You got enough? All right, fair enough. No, but I mean, I'm appreciative because that's usually my kind of shit. So.
But they said what's it called? And then I don't know how far we are, but
we're at time.
We can wrap it after this. But the what's it called paradox? Have you heard of this? Mm-mm. Can't think of the word. It's the something paradox that says the reason why we haven't seen aliens in this life is a good sign.
Because once we see them, that's the beginning of what? It's the end of beginning of the end.
Not that the aliens would kill us, but basically the paradox says that there is a filter somewhere in space, in our existence, to where life doesn't get through it. At the atomic level or whatever the case may be. The question is, are we before the filter or after the filter? So they're saying if we're after the filter, then we would be the most intelligent life in this specific galaxy, just this one. And that's why we don't see anyone else, because the other galaxies are so far away.
It's different galaxies.
Still not getting to our specific galaxy.
Gotcha.
But if we're before and we see aliens, that would mean that
we are not the superior life form.
And there's a potential that we're before the filter, and once we hit that filter, all of our life ends.
Gotcha.
Or they said the other possibility is that life being that's ahead of us still hasn't reached the filter itself. So that lets us know we have more time if we don't get into it with that specific
species. That's interesting because that's kind of like, that's kind of the backstory.
It's like the around paradox. It starts with a D, I feel like. It's something weird, though.
I'm going to have to look it up because that's kind of the philosophy behind like Mass Effect.
Oh, really?
Is that at some point there was an ancient race that built these machines that harvest basically all sentient life in the universe like every Guardians. 10,000 years, 50,000 years,
like
100,000 years.
Bouncers. Like they're getting out of control. Go take them out.
Right. Basically, when evolution hits a certain point in terms of like, and not just a single species, but when galactic evolution hits a certain point, it needs to be called.
But it goes deep too, because they were also explaining how there's different levels of beings. They were saying the level of being that we're only, I think they said 0.8% of our capability. Like they were basically saying that, so there's a being that harnesses the power of its environment.
Yeah.
Like, so using plants and shit to, then there's the being that uses its entire planet to harvest power, which is where we are. Then they said beyond that is a being that harvests the entire power of its galaxy for power, which we're nowhere near. Which is why we're only 0.8 of where we could be. But they were saying if there was a being that is at the point of being able to harness its entire galaxy, then it could bounce from galaxy to galaxy because it has the power of its own galaxy. Which is why they said if we were to see that, that would mean that we haven't reached that filter, which means we're close to the end of our species
in terms of the
But as I've been saying for the longest, we should have been we should have been hit that filter.
Right.
So it may honestly be scarier if we're beyond it.
Right. That this is the best we have to offer.
That this is the divine being that's gonna take over the
No.
I have a problem with that.
Well, and that's actually why, again, what I like about Mass Effect from that standpoint is that it's not that humans began exploring their own solar system and came across basically alien technology, which gave them access to the rest of the galaxy.
I think that's here.
Yeah.
I don't think that this is the first Earth.
Right. This is not the first species that has gotten to interstellar travel.
Right. I think we got here, shit might have died off, somebody or something stayed around, and we kind of repopulated, hence the caveman era through to where we are now. Yeah. But I don't think that this is the first time.
Well, that's the Assassin's Creed and the first man principle, right? Or the first man race.
One more, and we'll wrap it up. And this is made me think of it. So I've been watching it or listening to a new podcast about paranormal. What do you call them? Myths.
Okay.
What's it called? Lore, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And they were talking about Bloody Mary and Candyman and all them, and they were given the origin of how they came about, right? But before, the reason, whatever you said just sparked the thought
it for you.
Of one of them was if you stare into a mirror with a candle for, I think, 5 minutes and stare past the candle's flame into the mirror, you will eventually either see your last image of yourself before you die or the image of a previous life.
Okay, the image, basically the after image of a previous life.
Right. And that's when you said that's the vibe that I got off of
First Man or whatever, yeah.
Right, could we be looking in the mirror of thinking we're the first, but it's another life-ish, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're lives away from that. Happened on era mark planet number 9.
Yep.
Now we're on what we call Earth. That species was a lot further than we are. But something happened.
Well, it's the multiverse and the multiverse principles that we've gotten into before. Maybe there is a universe or a multiverse version of Earth at this exact point of time where we are much more advanced, and all of those movies that told us by the 2020s we're going to be interstellar travel and all of this, and it's going to be ubiquitous, and maybe there is an Earth where that exists.
Right. But to wrap it up, where the Candyman and the Bloody Mary came in, it really was, I think it started with Bloody Mary was a lady in, I think, what did they say?
Period.
Right. She was a bitch, boy, I tell you. But no, I know the what's it called, Candyman happened in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I know it's about the black dude that liked the white woman and the mob came after him and did all that shit to him. But Bloody Mary came from a crazy woman. I think she was around the Chicago area too. And she called the police to report someone breaking into her house through her medicine cabinet. And because she was crazy, no one believed her. But if you look at your medicine cabinet, it's usually, and I noticed this in my house, it's usually just nailed to a hole in the wall.
Right.
And in places like New York and Chicago, the apartments would be connected by that. So what happened was the dude took the medicine cabinet off of his wall, climbed through the hole, unscrewed her medicine cabinet, and came through and killed her. And like the police were like, the door was locked, blase scared. And she said they came through the medicine cabinet, so that made them check. And they pulled it off and saw a hole leading to the other people's apartment. And that's where the Bloody Mary, if you say her name in the mirror so many times, she'll appear because she's, still upset
about
they didn't believe they came through the medicine cabinet.
Gotcha. Well, damn.
Some crazy shit.
That is some crazy shit. All right, Mr. Jennings, you got anything you want to say to take us out tonight?
Glasses.
I mean, they do look good on you. You're all right.
IQ boosted. Glasses.
There you go. And as always, I've been Michael Reggie. Do us a favor. We've been off for a while. We need to get back in the game. Like, share, subscribe. Hit us up on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, at Foolproof Net handle, or search the Foolproof Entertainment Network on wherever podcasts are found.
And love a motherfucker.
I'm actually listening to us on Spotify now, not just Apple Podcasts. So if you like that, check us out on Spotify. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that good shit. I meant to
ask you if the numbers are different on each platform.
We'll talk. And with that, peace out, fools.